started a therapy journey. I was trying to find a therapist about 3 years ago, and I actually went through about 3 because I'm the type of person that I can finesse the conversation, you could be telling me what's wrong with you, and I'm starting. It just didn't work out. So I finally found somebody last year, and after having a conversation with the therapist, I realized that I was pretty screwed up. Because I feel like what I've noticed in my life being a creative, and even from the context of the background I come from, I have an older mother, older father, and just not having an outlet to express my feelings. Where I grew up, if you came in the house and said something was wrong or you were having a bad day, it wasn't really welcomed. People really didn't acknowledge it. I don't even want to say that people didn't acknowledge it. I feel like in that context, I don't think they understand or understood or had language to give to what you were feeling in that space. And so for me, I had to acknowledge that my childhood played a lot to the embarrassment and even the shame of me coming to a place to say, I am depressed. Like, I'm sad and I don't know how to get out of this. I need help. So how do you feel like, or what kind of background did you come from? What was your experience or you guys' experiences with it, as far as growing up?
I think this is wonderful that you're having this conversation because I actually came from a background where I felt I was very aware. My mom was an educator for over 25 years, so she was very big on what are you feeling, what are you going through, I'm here for you. She was really good with communicating that kind of stuff. But what I also learned was she was masking a lot of stuff. There were so many things that our parents go through that we don't have an idea of. And then you grow up one day and you're like, oop, this was actually happening.
Yeah.
So a lot of the things that my mom went through, she tried to really prevent us from going through it, but without really breaking down what that looks like. So she was like a protector. I'm gonna make sure y'all don't have to go through this. But not with the understanding of, let me just prepare y'all for if y'all have to go through this, right? Because my mother's passed, I no longer have her, and even as an adult, I see things differently, and it's like, oh, I gotta deal with this? Like, what will my mom do, or what's the best way to deal with it? So sometimes the way we are raised absolutely plays a part in the things that we're experiencing. I don't think I really dealt with depression until, I'm 40. So I don't think I really dealt with depression until the last few years. But not understanding that I was depressed. Right? So depression usually looks like a certain situation, maybe hair not done, or depressed looks depressed, like sad or something like that. I'm a really big energy person. You gonna always get Keon. You gonna always get my big personality. And I do that because I also feel like, people are depending on good energy. Who wants bad energy? So even when you go through things, you're kind of taught sometimes to leave your problems at the door. Or, I don't know what you went through today, but I don't got nothing to do with that. Or, you know what I'm saying? Who are we really expressing our feelings to? Not that I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't want to bother people. Because I'm a fixer. I'm a doer. I make the way. I make things happen. So I can't be around here making stuff happen and then leaving people with my load. So as of the last few years, noticing certain things in my mood or feeling like I had, headaches more often than normal. And it was like, well, what's this about? It's either gas or stress. You already know.
Right.
Honey, your stomach could be hurting, it's gas. Your head could be hurting, it's gas. Honey, your leg could be hurting,
you're not trying to get a ginger ale,
You try to get a ginger ale for everything. So with getting a little more in touch with myself, and I have to credit my relationship with my clients because I'm a doer and I will not stop, honestly. I will work through pain. I will work through being tired. And my clients will be like, I just need this little time to myself. For me, somebody that works so hard, I would take it well, don't you want this success? Don't you want these things? Don't you want to work hard? Work hard, play later. Is that not understanding that it's bigger than that sometimes? To be successful, you have to be recharged, refueled, aligned. How are you aligning yourself?
Absolutely.
That success will be there. Vina was a really big eye-opener with me with that because she's young. She's coming up in the business. We're working together. We're both growing in the business together. So I look at it no days off.
Right.
We gonna be on that boat later. We gonna, pop that bottle later.
Right.
Keep going. Child, Vina would send me the voicemail so quick. And I'm like, yeah. So I called to give you your schedule. And she was like, Keon, enjoy your day. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I'll try. Yeah. Well, I just, wanted to kind of like discuss these plans that I had. Like, I had plans for your future. And she's like, girl, God got us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know, this is why he sent me. But really not understanding, understanding sometimes when to take a chill pill.
Yeah.
So with depression, I didn't even understand that these were things that I were experiencing because I was running from it. Mm-hmm. I was ducking it. I didn't want it. Mm-hmm. I really didn't want it. So I'm thinking, looking past it, not acknowledging it, keep going was going to duck me from it. Yeah. Until one day I just was stuck in a bed. And I was just like, well, I'm going to get my rest. But how do you rest when you can't even rest?
Absolutely.
I'm literally laying down.
That's a real place, though.
That's a real place. I'm literally laying down, saying to myself, I'm going to take a break, fooling me. But I'm not even breaking because my mind is still going. Yeah. I learned about anxiety. I didn't know that was anxiety. I didn't even know what that was. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. I learned about what that was. So, my experience, just even being a businesswoman, we handle so many things. Mm-hmm. So just understanding work-life balance. So like, when you even mentioned this, I was just like, oh, I'm a candidate. Right. Because, honey, I love, and Vina can definitely, elaborate a lot more with the way, we work and the way we've grown to work together. Mm-hmm. And just respecting boundaries, places, and understanding that, the person smiling in your face may not actually be smiling. Mm-hmm. Understanding that people come from somewhere before they get to you. Absolutely. That's why I try. Usually when I'm communicating with people, I'm going to always acknowledge, good morning, how you doing? Before I go straight into business. I don't care what it is. I don't care if I'm hitting you at 3 a.m, I'm going to say good late night or whatever that is. I do try to acknowledge people to try to feel things out and to see where someone is at, to try to, welcome them a little bit more because you just never know what somebody is going through.
Absolutely. Yeah. And just piggyback off of you guys, thank you again, Justin, for, having
so
me and Keon to, come in and share our story and our testimony. I'm a big advocate of mental health. And, when it comes to the mind, I study so much about the mind. I study how we think, why we think the way we think, what triggers the anxiety, what triggers nervousness, because everything is here. This is why it holds when you can't use the restroom, you can't doodle, you hold everything in here because it's the stress. It's like, and we're not born with those things. It's the stress of the world. It's the stress of what we experience as a child. I have experiences from young, right? But when I graduated from college, that's when I seen the depression. I seen me thinking so much. Why am I overthinking? Why is my mind racing? What are you thinking about, to the point where I am researching so much things, that schizophrenic done popped up, bipolar done popped up, all these things. I'm like, what is it? Why am I thinking? But I didn't know that I'm reading Will Smith's book, and I'm reading how the imaginations are and how you could really have conversations in your own mind. You're speaking to your mind. And sometimes I learned that it's not about like what you may be going through or this. It's about what you are causing on your own self. You're the one who's thinking so many things. You're always going to think that it's you. If you're researching things and you're like, well, I think this is what it is, you're going to conjure up those things and you're going to make it bigger than what it is. So I didn't really witness those moments until I graduated from college, because when you're in college, you have a routine. You go to this class, lunch, this, hang with your friends, and when all that's done, then that's when real life start happening. And that's what I was going through. I was in everything in college. I was in radio, I did this, I did that, I was hosting all these stuff. But then when you graduated, they give you that degree, it's like now it's life.
It's on you.
It's on you. And that's what I was dealing with when I was living in Charlotte, trying to figure it out and trying to get the next steps. And just to piggyback off of both of you guys, it's okay to rest. It's okay to reset. Keon is very much like, what are we doing, where we at, with it. But I didn't know when I got into this industry that I didn't know what mental health was. Like, what is it? And mental health is not a straitjacket. It's not you're going crazy. It's a lot of words that form around that word mental health. You're the anxiety part, tired, overthinking, fear, those things. Before you get on stage, every great comedian, actress, whomever, whatever you do, is nervous before they get on. That's a form of a mental health. That's a form of anxiety. Yeah. Your palms are sweaty. You know, you probably missed a line or two. I used to do that when I was on Wild 'N Out. I used to get on stage and know I'm rehearsing what I'm going to say or going over a line, and I get on stage, I'm like, pick up and kill it, kill it. You know, like literally it's a lot, but those are a form of a mental health thing. It's like nervousness. So for me and Keon, when we work, Keon could be on it. She could have calendars. She could have schedules, all these things. But I have to, she don't know what's going on in my personal life, you know? I mean, as a manager, you know to know all things. But I think for me, it was more so like, I want to take this one by myself here and God and just me in my bed. Let me just figure this out, because you may not understand certain things. And your job is to keep me going. You know, your job is to say, like, we got stuff to do. And ABC, Wild 'N Out, MTV really don't really care about that right now. Like, we gotta figure this out. And for me, I'm like, well, in order for Pretty V, Sharon, Peanut Mom, this, and all these things that you guys see on Instagram, Devonna Excel has to be right. She has to be okay mentally. She has to know, like, this is what she's destined to do, but give me like 2 minutes. I promise you, I'm gonna be right in like 2 minutes. But I think sometimes, you know, our mind, the overthinking, this, all those things could just be such a toll that, like, you just get in your bed and you want to go to sleep, or not even going to sleep. You want to find something to make sure your muscle in your mind is on track. And like I said, mental health is not a straitjacket. People don't know that depression looks like this. Depression looks like, what's up, girl? Yeah. Depression look like, eh. And you never know what's going on until you get in your car, you drive off, you go home, and you back to square one. And I've been in those places and spaces in my life. And thank God, I thank God that, and one of my battles were is God even listening sometimes too? He listening, right? But it's literally like, when you wish you could text and be like, oh, okay, who I gotta cut off?
Right.
I need to see it. Like, I need to see something.
I need to see something. But that's not how God worked, right? But He would definitely give you signs and confirmations. So I think for me, it was more so of like trying to figure out what this next step is of my career. Again, I'm a newbie in this business. I am nowhere near 25 plus, nowhere near even 5, 6, 7. I'm just now starting.
You done did it in a short time.
I didn't. You know, I appreciate that.
Call it out, Keon.
I appreciate that, and I'm so humble and I am grateful. But I also I have a lot of work to do, and in order for that work to come to pass, and in order for me to see my blessings, continue to see my blessings in my divine purpose, Devonna Excel has to be right. I got a dry erase board from my homegirl the other night, and I wrote down the things, the execution before 2022 that I have to do, and I recite that. I wake up now at 6 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I'm off, about 8, 9. I probably get up and worship, but those are the things that I have learned to get my mind together so I could get out there and do the job, get out there and get stuff done, get out there to receive those phone calls. And some days I don't be on 100. Keon may call and say, what they do? And I'm like, oh, what's going on? You good? Let's get it. Because right now, while she's scheduling something, I'm scheduling something on the back end for myself too. Personal, might be another business venture, might be something that's dealing with my mom, might be something dealing with my family. So as an artist and as a creative, we have a lot to do, and as a manager, and as, you know, owning businesses and having a family, being a wife, being a mother first. So it's a lot of things. And I just think depression, while you doing this, you know, around your white table, you know, your white tabletop, you know, it's important to address these, because every creator goes through this. My peers go through it. We have discussions. We talk about what, you know, the mind. I'm so big on it because I'm just like, is it me speaking it now? It is, because I know it's, you know, like, so it's all those things that you really think about. And it's just like, girl, that's you. I used to be, sometimes when I think about like these crazy ideas, I used to be like, what is that? And then I thought about it, and I was reading just reading Will Smith's book and just praying about it. And it's like, this is what God gave you. He gave you the spirit of being creative. He gave you the spirit of uniqueness. He gave you that calling. Absolutely. You cannot be afraid of that. You have to keep going. You have to, because before I met Keon, I was in a pink robe in that kitchen, right? And I was doing so much. But now when you get out there in this world of being Pretty V, they want to see more of that. So when those ideas and moments and imaginations come to you, those visions, those bright visions, it's like, wow, I thought of that and that's gonna work. Just like I did V House. I literally sat there and said, I want my characters to be compiled and around a table and just have Thanksgiving. People be like, girl, your mind be just going. It really goes. And if I write out the list of things, you be like, girl, we can make $1 million tomorrow. Why you ain't give me that idea, sis? Right. But it's really about just really knowing, like, that's you. That's what God instilled in you. You have to embrace those imaginations, embrace those visions, embrace those thoughts, because you're a creator. And creative people go through it. Robin Williams was a prime example. Suicide, allowed him to leave this earth. Yeah. It wasn't, his life wasn't taken by nobody. It wasn't no heart attack. It wasn't a natural cause. It was suicidal, because there's so much that goes into that mind. That
it was actually Alzheimer's. Sorry, it was actually Alzheimer's too that drove it there. But that's really big when it comes to the stressing, the anxiety, the depression,
all those things.
All that stuff derives from that kind of stuff.
And Kate Spade, she passed away. Yeah. So all those things. As a business person, as a creative, we go through things, and we're so scared to talk about what we go through. We're so afraid because we may get judged. But I'm here to tell y'all today, I'm a very vocal vessel. I'm going to speak about my problems. I'm going to let it be known what I go through. I'm going to let it be known how I feel. I'm going to let it be known, because I think you have to know that. So when I walk in the door to handle business, okay, she was just on 10. I know where that energy come from. But when the lights, camera, action, I'm going to give y'all a show. So that's just,
Lena, you really got to preach on you.
Stop.
It really kind of.
It's very much. She's very much a PK.
She really got a little preach. But no, for real though, like listening to you talk, all of what you said is so healing.
Oh
I literally had chills on my arm. Like, God is in that. Like, God gives us those. Like you said, God gives us those gifts.
Yeah.
And I think it's so healing. Oh my God, Vina, it's so healing for people to see you in this light.
You can't run from it either. You can't run from that.
Yeah.
I was talking to Kiara Shear, shout out to sis. She literally was like, why you act like you can't talk to yourself? She said, I do it.
Absolutely.
My mom, if I ask my mom, I was like, Mom, why you do this? She's like, because girl, baby, when you get my age, you're going to be saying something. Okay?
Right.
And I think too, it's not about, people have to understand, whatever goes on in your mind, that's you thinking those thoughts. That is you. There's nobody else but you coming up with the creative, whoever it is. If you are, I'm speaking for myself because I'm a creative person, and me going in this field of acting and film and TV, you have to be that person, right? But you got to know how to come out of that person. I can't be Peanut Mama Monday through Sunday from 7 a.m. to 12. We're not gonna do that. Now we need to Bellevue somewhere. You can't be that person. Now Keon go be like, baby, you just was Peanut Mama 10 times. I need Vina. Like I need what? Right. So those things you have to know how to control. A lot of people don't know how to get out of those things as a creator, and I think it's very important that people speak about those mental health, because you just think that some things you can't talk about or you're scared to talk about. If you feel like you're going through something, if you feel like you think about suicidal thoughts, if you're thinking about these things, there's a lot of stuff go on in our community that people don't like to talk about.
And I think you touched on something that I feel like, again, your conversation has been so healing. But you talked about the importance of rest. I think we're in a culture now that we feel like we always got to be on. We always got to be doing. If I'm not doing, I got to be overly productive. I always got to be doing.
And you can access it. Let's talk about it. It's not something that closes. It's not something that goes off. I am definitely guilty of this. My phone is in my bed with me for obvious reasons. But I will roll over unconsciously, get my phone, and I'm going to do three things: check my email, check my Instagram, and check my Facebook. Now, why I just did that?
Right. Yeah,
now, what made me do
that?
Yeah. And I'm so wrong for it. And I know it. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's not healthy.
Yeah.
As much as you can say, I'm not this kind of person, I'm not that kind of person, those things make you something. They make you more conscious about things that you're probably not even thinking about. Because it plays in your head, and then you going back to sleep. Thinking about these kind of things.
Yeah, going to sleep, looking at
these things. And guess what? Some of the stuff is disturbing. How many times you're reading about people getting killed, robbed? Something's happening just really messed up out here, and you got to live with that. Some of us are touched by some of these things that are happening out here right now. So it's just so messed up. And for Vina being a creative and coming from social media, she's got to be extra strong.
Yeah.
But I really think like your surroundings is so important. when it comes to this too.
And one thing I had to learn, Keon, is that this is something that freed me. If God called you to do something, He's factored in your downtime. So you ain't got to worry about somebody taking your spot. You ain't got to, because the culture is if I don't produce,
compete,
then somebody gonna come in and take.
Oh my God, it's the competition. And you know what? I mean, we've grown a lot together to where like she knows how she can depend on me. I know how I can depend on her. I know how to read her more. She can read me. We get that. But even in what she's doing, I feel like with creatives, the jealousy, the envy, that stuff looks for y'all. Y'all don't even be looking for it sometimes, and it's just out the blue. Like it can probably taunt you, because guess what? We go on a lot of auditions. Vina hasn't gotten every audition, but somewhere we're okay with walking away from certain things too. So we've had auditions that we just haven't gotten called back for. Okay, we also looked at it as it wasn't our time and it wasn't for us. But from that, learning, hey, what could I have done better? Elevating the next time when we do these things, right? But on the flip side, it's like, well, I want to elevate. I want to be different. So how does your how do we change the introduction? I know, people met Vina fighting herself in the street. But Vina wants to be an actress. Like, nothing against that, because that's a layer of her that people love. To this day, when she posts these skits, I literally text them like, I don't know if I can represent you. This is going too far. Like, did you just do this? Like, I'm gagging at some of the stuff that she creatively comes up with. And she doesn't call and consult me. She just does it because it falls on her. Like, okay, wait, I got to do this right now. I had to stop recording her. I used to record her for a little, I couldn't help but laugh. I couldn't do it no more. I was like, I can't do this around you. I don't see how you do this. So I definitely think like support is so important. Because what I believe with creatives is you feel alone a lot.
Absolutely.
And you immediately go into a place of, you don't understand what I'm going through. And I have to admit, I didn't. I just knew my job. I want to be supportive. I want to be effective. I want to be efficient. I don't want my client feeling like, well, what you over there doing?
Right.
So I'm just trying to prove myself. But on the flip side, there's a piece that, as a creative, you guys need, a nurturing piece. That you guys need, because really, y'all are going to turn the volume up the way you want to. Vina, you are not going to be able to stop her if you want to. But when she needs that stop, honey, she gonna answer that FaceTime like, I'm at the spa. What are you doing today? And I'm like, oh, I should try that. She's like, yeah, you should do this. Like, get into this. Get your routine. Instilling like some form of routine. And I'm an organized person, so I definitely think learning from somebody, this has been like a really great learning experience for me, that being excellent is not all about being perfect. I can be excellent and be considerate. I can be excellent and care, because that's really my job. My job is to care for her. My job is to protect her. My job is to not let the outside wear her out. So I can't be the person wearing her out if I'm protecting her from all this other stuff. But I will say, it's a conversation that has to be had, because I wasn't purposely doing it. I didn't mean it. I literally, like I said, I was trying to prove myself. So when somebody is honest with you, and I had a friend that also brought up to me, like, sometimes like your peers are going through things, and it's so important that we're there for them, right? Like recognizing it, like the people that you're around, like when they're different. I always say, like, if I'm not being myself, check on me. Or, like, if you ain't heard from me in a certain amount of days, honey, check on me. Something is definitely going on. Or something like that. So being accountable to the people that, we depend on as well, to lift them up, to keep them balanced. It's a job all around. It's really.
It's definitely a job. And I think, too, when you get into a place of feeling like you are not, like, worthy, you get to feel like you don't deserve what you have. Because that's like the depression part, that's the anxiety part, that's the overthinking part. And I remember when my homegirl said, you deserve everything, Vina. I don't know why you be in your head. I'm like, well, I know I deserve. I know what I'm called to do. I know I have an assignment. I know that I'm supposed to be in this lane of work. And I know I'm not just doing funny. I know it's healing to depression.
Ministry.
Yeah, it's ministry.
Absolutely.
This is the second person who told me that today.
It's ministry.
So, and you're the second one. So, literally, I know that my calling is not just being on the table, all that. I know it's healing someone. And if I get DMs and I see that, that makes me feel great, because I know when I was in a place of trying to figure out who was going to do that for me, who is going to make sure they speak into my life, feed me. My mom's a pastor. I hear from her all day, every day. But when we know we want to hear from somebody else, because it's like, mama know me, like, you whatever. But I've gotten to really, like, hear my mom and really listen to say, you know what, I have gone through that. I should have listened. I get you. I know. But it feels great, too, when my mom is not in the entertainment industry, so she's in a whole different field of ministry. But when you have someone who gets it and knows on the back end, like, I get it. Like, I know the entertainment industry. I could definitely understand where you're coming from, but do it this way. It helps me to know that I'm not driving myself up the wire. Yeah. All I'm witnessing and doing is, that's you. You are uniquely made. You are wonderfully made. You are the head and not the tail. You are above and not beneath.
Come on, Vina.
Hello? Like, you are supposed to be where you're at.
Absolutely.
Embrace that.
Yes.
Embrace everything that goes on, because everything you're putting out is beautiful.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, I love y'all. Thank y'all for having this conversation with me.
Listen,
it was healing for me even listening to you speak. I just want to just tell you that, I don't know if nobody has ever told you, but what you do is ministry. And a lot of times what has caused people to really miss the Great Commission and being full out into their assignment is that we box ministry into this thing that we've taught what it is.
Yeah.
We box it into a pulpit and a microphone, and that's not all the time.
And sweat in an apron.
You with your curlers and your V house and your all your ideas, that is ministry. Why? Because it's inspiration from God that He's giving you. And it's like you said, you don't know who is watching your videos, who might be thinking about killing themselves and suicide, who might be feeling lonely and stumble on your page or your videos, and they make the decision to laugh and pull them out of a dark place just by coming across your page. So I'm gonna be calling you Evangelist.
Yes. Well, COVID was definitely a moment for me too, honey. That was in a place of,
oh my God, you have to talk about that because it was almost like, of course, with God, you had to bring yourself out of that. Like, I didn't know what happened. Anybody who caught COVID, it was really simple. You had just talked to them, and then you never caught COVID. I never caught COVID. But sis
never caught COVID.
You know, sis stay with her 6 masks and in the house, in the corner, COVID testing round the clock. But
never caught COVID.
When she caught it, it was literally like Vina was okay, and then Vina disappeared. And, you know, I mean, literally, we sending her groceries, sending her food. She was like, I can't go to sleep. I don't know what to think. But it also, I was nervous because I'm like, she's a good one. And, you know, they always say the devil attacks the good ones. And I'm like, oh, man, she was just up. Like, how did this happen? And we were also being precautious at the same time. So when that COVID thing hit, it just, even for business, Vina was on the brinks of like a really big deal with City Trends. Like the ink had just dried and everything was ready to lay out. COVID came, honey, and was like toodaloo, and we was like,
but it was other opportunities as well we had, and it was like, oh my God, that was money.
It was like, listen,
that was some opportunity.
That was a good year. That was
it was happening.
It was happening. It was going. We were growing. COVID came and was like, we'll be back. And we was like, but the funny part about it is, through the grace of God, we still made it. That was a sad time, but we got on that phone and we came up with other ways. We was like, so what about this? So we're thinking we can do it. Like, honey, we became the executives on these deals. We was like, honey, we praying for everybody involved, but this is what we gonna do. And we literally took these matters in our own hand, came up with plan Bs for all these additional deals, figured out safe ways to still work. A lot of our work was cut, but a lot of our work still came in such a testing time to where now Vina is in over 600 stores in City Trends.
Come on, Jesus.
Walking up on a new release that's coming this holiday. Check out City Trends. You are going to see pretty in the city. It's RV.
And it's so funny because even in the midst of me having my downtime, we didn't get paid. You know, it was literally like all bookings went left, right? And then still the ones that we did miss didn't return. You know, it was like on to the next. But God showed His hand so much that opportunities were coming in even after, different ones that kind of opened up my mind to receive different. You know, when you get the same bookings, it's like I noticed. But this year I've gotten bookings where I'm just like, wow, now I gotta like really like use my brain more, kind of structure more intentional. And I think me and Keon's relationship got better to really know like this is the focus. Like this is what we need to focus on. Like I know we've done this, I know we've done that, but this is what we need to focus on to get to the place of film and TV. Yes. You know, her introducing me to the acting coach, like this, if you want to really get on it, you need to really master that. You need to really get to some classes and master, and sacrificing that. And my thing is, pretty can't get you nowhere. Can't get you that far, okay? Can't be pretty and walk in the door and say, I'm going to get a job.
Absolutely.
It's like you really have to really know your business.
Yep.
And I think this year I've really learned what that black and white look, what I need to sign, what I don't need to sign, who I need to deal with, who I need to talk to. This year has taught so much, and I think it has taught us to get ready. To get ready because it's a transition season, and it's a season of greatness. It's a season of acceleration. It's a season to excel. It's a season to walk into your purpose.
I was just about to say,
your divine purpose. So you have to walk in it. So I think it kind of made us stronger to really know, like, you know what? I feel you. I get you. I understand you, what you're trying to do. I see the vision, but you got to go out and get it. And sometimes I should be like, well, Keon, I can't be this. I can't be a PR. I can't be this. She's like, but it's coming from a great place. So as you work on it, as you work on your business on your end, just know I'm working over here. But what you're doing it because it's coming from a good place. So, you know, if you do that, you can never go no wrong. But I'm going to handle here. So if I mess up, it's on me. But what you're doing on your side, that's on you. And I think we got to a point where I'm going to do what I got to do because this is my title, and you're going to do what you have to do. And I think it kind of really got us together in knowing, like, this is the vision. I'm going to help on my end. I have my connections here. You just continue to be an artist and let me be the bad guy. And I've always wanted to be like, I'm going to do this. Let me go. No, baby. Now it's too much conversation going on, and I don't know what the hell we have going on.
Right. Yeah. Right. Not even here on this date. What's going on? Right. Everybody hates Keon. Right. And that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm saying yes. Keon's like, but you told me no. So which one is it?
What was the one?
Right.
And that's Keon all day. Sorry. But I mean, it comes with the territory, and I want to say thank you because you opened my mind up to something that I just did not see.
And I told Keon to always rest.
Oh my God.
Take a breather.
She be going.
I told her this is gonna be
Keon be on the phone 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
I said Keon's gonna be on someone's panel talking her story because she has a beautiful. We could go on a story all day. But I've always told Keon, toes done, nails done, hair done, Gucci bag, non-Gucci bag, it don't matter. It is a place of happiness. Yes. Because if you don't have peace, you do not have your mind or your spirit or soul.
And this is why I'm saying, like, honestly, I have
vacation.
Yes, I have some really dope pushers in my corner, and honestly, that's what I want to be. I want to be that.
Well, you
are. I want to make sure that I am intentional. And I just think when people are around you, that's a blessing. So like you allowing us to do this, I'm not taking this lightly because you're my friend or because I know you. I think that it's amazing that you chose us to do this with you. So for me, this is big. Like I don't think this is a small opportunity. I think this is big. I think we're going to see this for years to come, and I'm going to be honored that we were a part of it. So when I'm a part of somebody's circle, if somebody is allowing me to be a part of their thought process, their team, I always want to show up big for them because it's their dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like her 4 characters that we've been talking about, oh my God, like we have been talking about this for the longest, and I knew, together we knew, like this was something bigger. When we talked about Thanksgiving, we started talking about it, and we just started boom, 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 boom.
Right.
And it came to life, but she did it so effortlessly, and I was just so appreciative that she has a team that gets her. Because we all are something, right? But you got to get the people that get you and won't make you feel crazy. Or even if they don't understand you, just be like, well, what we got to do to get there? Because that's really what it's about. Yeah. What are we going to do to get there? So I just appreciate that. So I can be a lot, but it's all for the good. Because guess what? I don't want somebody to give up and then I match that energy. Yeah. I want somebody that doesn't feel good that day to feel like, honey, go brush your teeth. You'll be fine. Go get you something to eat. You'll be fine. Go get your hair done. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Like this is so You got to wake up. You ain't even woke. You still sleep. Wake up, you know. And I had a mother that was a big believer. Yeah. So everything that she did, you are so much your parents. I don't care how much you don't want to be like your parents. You are truly like your influences. And my mother was a big influence. Absolutely. You know it. She is. But what I would say was, I really thank you because you opened me up on it. I wasn't in tune with the mental health piece. I wasn't, because it wasn't something I identified myself with. I thought stress was stress, and I just thought I needed to deal with it better. I never looked at anxiety could be in my trait, or that I can experience it, or that I could be depressed, because I never looked at myself unhappy. I looked at going through difficult things, but not understanding that even me with a past and the things that I've been through have brought me to this. I've worked out of fear. Yes, that's why I aim to please so hard and want to go hard, because I don't want to lose people. I don't want to lose things. I don't want to lose opportunities. But I will say, in the last 4 years, I learned that these opportunities that are for me are going to be here. What's for me, it cannot even be taken away. Even if it's paused, it's just not for me at that time. Come on. So I really appreciate you waking me up. Listen, I appreciate you waking me up on that, because I just was not aware of how people can be affected by that. And you know, when you're a good person at heart, you're like, well, that's not my intention. You know, it's bigger than your intention. It's really about what you're giving out. So she put me in my place with that. She really taught me.
And I think too, when going back into like the mental health space, nothing's wrong with us, right? Nothing's wrong with anybody who goes through nervousness or fear or the anxiety part or overthinking before. Because for real, I know sometimes, like we said before, sometimes when you go into in our community, in our home, it's like, ain't nothing wrong with you. Go to sleep, go drink some water.
But I just told you something was wrong with me, though.
Right, I did. But
I literally just told you something is wrong with me.
But I also have to say this. I took something from that. Because when we are in a depressed state, we always tell ourselves we are not, that we are healed, but that we are blessed or set free. So the parents that told us we are not, they already believe that we're not. Right. Because if you keep sinking into that place of being depressed, you're going to be that way. So your mother or father or auntie, whoever told you, Justin, that nothing's wrong with you, they already seen it. Like, it's nothing wrong with you. Give those problems to God. Not that they didn't care. It's because they are taught to believe that there's nothing wrong and that we shall cast our cares onto God. So God is always, he used doctors to help us. He used therapists, counselors. But my thing is, going to a therapist is cool, but make sure they're faith-based, because that's the only person that's going to see and feed into you back. Because at the end, if you go to someone, and I'm not saying whatever you have going on or whatever, because sometimes those things be the scientific part of things, but if you're a believer and you know that God is your ultimate healer, you have to go to someone that's going to be faith-based, because those are the ones that are going to go back to the word and where it's coming from and how they're speaking to you, because everybody is not happy of your walk. They're not happy of your purpose. They're not happy to see you do this and make this come to fruition and blossom. So you have to speak to those who are going to speak back into your life, because they're not happy. And that's when I said to you, your mama or your daddy said, nothing's wrong with you. They already said nothing's wrong with you, because they know to believe in a higher God. So there's nothing wrong with the upbringing. It's now that we in this world of social media and the mental health that is so strong, and everybody's getting killed and everybody's getting suicide rate is high, and the COVID done came, and now you got to keep up. I done did this BET thing. Now I'm waiting for Fox to hit me. It's like, sit in your blessings. So sit in that for a second. Just know there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with you guys. Whoever's watching, whoever gonna be watching, there's nothing wrong with you, Keon. No. You rose up, and you rose up to know, like, look, I am ahead and not the tail. I'm above and not beneath, and I'm gonna get what's mine.
Period.
And that's just what it is.
Period.
Well, thank y'all so much.
No, thank you for having us. This is nice. I love this.
Yeah, this was so fun.
Yes.
White table tea.
Right. White table tea. Period.